ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, scissors.
One more time. Just
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
I was looking at my phone.
What the hell was that?
I was getting the notes ready. What do you mean? What the hell was
All right,
that?
ready? 1, 2, 3.
Paper.
Rock.
Scissors.
Scissors.
All right. One more time.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Paper.
Rock. Scissors.
Sir.
You gotta keep going. I thought that's what we said we would do.
I know, but it's just so hard. All right, 3, 2, 1. Rock.
Paper. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to the Panoramic Perspective Podcast, your weekly trip for anime shit. Let's get into it. Today's episode is Attack on Titan Season 1. We're finally here, bro. We're finally here.
It's really fun rewatching.
We're finally here. I'm saying we're finally here as if like it's been some crazy journey. This is the second episode.
You've been waiting so long to
y'all
watch.
Have no idea. We're gonna start from episode 1 and just keep going, yeah?
Yeah. Definitely.
So literally the first thing I have on my notes for episode 1 is that it's the year 845 and the voice acting is good. So,
well, we should probably clarify this. You watched it in sub and I'm watching it in dub.
Yes. So,
if you're a Kirito fan, you know what's crazy though is he's not bad in the first season, and I remember what happened. He actually has a character until like the end of the season. That's when he starts becoming that depressed little robot.
Yeah. I see. All right. So the first thing I want to bring up is the music. That's the first actual note I have, and it's when the Survey Corps first come back. And Erin is like watching them, and he has like these big open wide eyes, and he's like smiling like huge and stuff. If you listen to the music is like really deep.
Mm-hmm.
It's like almost throbbing, like shaky, and it's like this one consistent tone over and over again, just like this doom, doom. It really conveys to the audience like this sort of eerie, uncomfortable setting of why is this kid so happy when the mood is so dim?
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. And there's like a lot of moments in that, like that in the show, maybe not necessarily with the music, but I just thought that was such a good way of already setting the stage, the intensity of the show.
Of what's going to happen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It's cool that you bring that up too, because the first... You actually kind of first threw out this idea to me was this angelic course being represented over the Titans, like when they first show them.
Like, the giant Titan.
Yeah. You get like this opera like angelic soundtrack, but the first time they actually show the Survey Corps in action, like in the forest, in that first shot, we get this like rock tone, and I just thought that was kind of cool, like this almost heaven hell contrast, because most people compare rock music to, I don't know if they still do it today, but like
probably people out there who are just like no, the devil's lettuce and the devil's music, no. My biggest thing with the show when it comes to the music though is that it's like they use these very specific driven choices for the music, but once they like use it for the one time that was like driven for it, they kind of just use it throughout
exactly. And that's something that I caught on to, and it was just a little bit of a letdown.
No, yeah. So anyways, episode 1, we finally get to meet the main three, the Mikasa, Erin, and Armin.
And Armin.
Yeah, and honestly, all I really wrote down about Erin was that he wants to like see what's beyond the hell of like where they live.
Yeah. I mean, same thing with Armin too, because Armin had just like a big part in that with his, Armin had his parents who was telling him like these stories of the outside world and what life beyond the walls is, and how there's, this sea with salt in it. And it brings up that cool scene with them too, where they're just like, That's not a thing. You can't have a sea with salt in it. If there was a sea with salt in it, we could just, use
everyone would be getting that shit. That takes money, bro. Come on now. Like, we'd be rich, man. He's like, no, there's so much salt. You can't take it all.
What?
Yeah. Your face right there was so bad. But, and it already, like, sets the stage for their goal, Yeah. I feel like they really introduced the goal early. This show just, like, comes right out a gate with it, like
very
episode one, just boom. Yeah. And I like that.
I like it. Yeah. There was this awesome shot that they had before the attack went down, and it was Erin was kind of monologuing about how they were safe behind the walls and stuff like that, and how society has been going, and the camera was just panning over just the city. It showed this awesome aerial view where like birds were flying. It was showing like a mother and her child hanging clothes, and then it showed the wall, and then it was just awesome because it showed this just little bit of wind, and then boom, lightning comes down. And I don't know, just all the artwork there.
Yeah.
It was just set up really nice to just give you this sense of, oh, this is bad.
No, yeah, because
this is just not supposed to happen at all. Like they're not prepared for this. This is just a hurricane just waiting to happen.
No, yeah, because they're showing you all this. They're giving you all this buildup of just beautiful imagery that we would associate with, oh, this is nice. And then all of a sudden, lightning strike, just crazy, just out of nowhere. And you're just like, whoa, like,
whoa.
And what a great way to catch attention. I literally said, like, what a first episode was that.
And another thing that I thought was interesting too, human society has been living behind the walls for at least 100 years, I believe they said, with no problems. Why now is there an attack with the colossal titan and armor titan? Not weird, but super suspicious. Like it just seems such like, 100 years now we attack, like that's
And I feel like for an audience member watching it for the first time, they would just think like, oh, I don't give a shit, like it's the Avatar, baby. Such a good first episode, and it transitions so beautifully into the second episode. It literally starts off with a religious man, like yelling an excerpt from like the Bible. Wow, people are getting eaten and stuff. It's like wild,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the idea of like these titans are like they're gods, and not necessarily the ones that they like pray to, but as a symbolism of like they're as strong as
powerful
gods.
Like no,
especially when he's saying the excerpt, and a titan literally just eats him. It was like. Yeah, that was wild.
Right after Hannes made the choice to save Erin and Mikasa and just leave, and Erin is kind of just like beating on Hannes, and he sits them down and he's like talking to him, and he says, "What are you doing? Like, we got to go back there." And he tells him that he can't because he's a coward, and he is sorry to Erin for being like a coward. Like, I thought that was a very powerful scene because you have just this grown man literally telling like this kid, "I can't save your mom because I'm physically just too afraid to." Like
at that part you were talking about, I really like when he says like, I'm too much of a coward and you are too weak. You're not strong enough,
You're not strong enough.
Because it's kind of setting the tone to like what Erin's like, what has happened to motivate him to become stronger. Armored Titan first appears, the music is just thunderous. It is just overtaking all the rest of the music, and I think you need that. And the reason why I'm saying that is you have all this chaos, all these jaw-dropping moments of like a kid crying to her mom, or people getting eaten, and all this crazy shit, and you have like a certain rhythm and tone and intensity to your music. Well, now how are you going to convey to the audience that this is even worse? Well, your two options that I think are to go to the extremities. So you're either going to go to the super intense to make the situation feel like it's gotten even worse, and like make the audience know that like subconsciously like, oh,
hope is gone. Like this is like, make us feel just how can humanity even bounce back? Like,
no, yeah. Or you take it and you go to the extremity of the lower extremity, you know, of just making it as soft as the music will let you compared to like what the music was, you know. And what that would do is make the audience go, it would shock the audience into, whoa, this is off. This changed, you know. And they went with the former, you know, of just making it thunderous so the audience would know like this has gotten even worse. And that was such a beautiful move, you know, because I noticed that there's a lot of times where music would be used to either make you shocked or make you know like, oh, it's gotten even worse.
It's bad.
And for a moment like that, like it was so perfectly done to have the music just turn into this thunderous chaos.
But I guess with that, we can go into like episode 3. It just introduces us to probably one of my favorite side characters, and that is Sasha. Best introduction, I think.
She eats a potato in the thing.
Ever, like, come on. That was so funny. And he's just like, and what are you doing? I'm eating a potato, sir.
yeah. Like, that's so real, bro. Just like sitting there being like, fuck this guy. I'm just going to eat this potato.
Why are you eating a potato? Are you asking me why people eat potatoes? Like,
they make her so dumb. They make her so dumb in that moment, bro.
But yet she's so smart. Like, cause
yeah. She has like really good instincts.
Well, yeah, because she's a hunter. She
exactly.
was raised in a hunting village, which they show off a lot throughout the series. Like her natural, just like instinct.
Transitioning into episode 4, this is 2 years after they have enlisted, right? I really like how they start off with the time transition. Time has passed, they have grown, and all of a sudden you see Armin, right? And he's just a weak little bitch, you know, and he's having trouble running. And you know, Reiner helps him by taking his stuff, and then Armin just like in his head has like this inner monologue of like, I'm not going to slow everyone else down. I'm going to keep going even if it kills me.
Yeah.
Like really setting his character, but it's not from it's kind of crazy because where that emotion is coming from isn't a sense of being like I'm strong. It's a sense of I'm weak.
I'm weak and I'm going to drag everybody else down if I can't pick up at least my own slack. It's so sad to see him that because he's a huge asset and he doesn't realize that. I mean, just going into like their first experience as soldiers against the Titans.
Yeah.
He adapted just very well on how to read the situation. Like, yeah, he was very, you know, terrified and it took a lot for him to snap out of it. But once he got snapped out of it, he comes up with amazing strategies. I just find it so funny because they couldn't have make it more obvious that Erin was gonna die so fast. They pulled every cliche out of the book. Mikasa telling him like, you better not get yourself killed.
It's like, I'm not gonna die.
I'm not gonna die. Him and Armin and his squad having that moment right before disaster strikes for the squad's all happy, you know, joking around, messing around, throwing jokes. Oh, we're gonna slay those Titans. We're gonna take them all out. These Titans, nothing. And they just all get wiped out.
No, yeah, I do have to say, like, it's definitely obvious, but I do love the moment when he dies. I thought the moment when he dies was so lit in so many ways. It was like crazy, dude.
It's one of those things where it's like, you know it's going to happen. You're feeling the cliche come, but then it happens. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of cool. I mean, they had my boy chase down a Titan and then just get snapped
on, bro, his leg. Like, oh my God. And then he freaking like tumbles on the tiles of the roof.
Broke almost every. I don't even know how he was able to get up after that. If I'm being honest. Bro. And then
why am I not fighting? Why am I not fighting?
He gets dropped in the mouth. Okay, how the hell did Erin save him? There is no. I was keeping track.
What are you talking about?
No. So much time went by, bro. There is no way you're telling me that Titan didn't swallow Armin.
Nah, it was like one of those moments where it's like
3 minutes where Erin was laying on the floor.
It was just slow motion. You know how like in anime they're like, okay, it's like for them, if we were to actually do it in real time, it would be all like, no, I don't want to die. Oh shit. And he runs after him. But they take that oh shit, and they spread it out, and they're like, everyone died, everyone's going to die, it's never going to end, everything that happens, and it's literally just him going, oh shit, and he runs after him or something.
And I know everybody has an anime. Everybody always has like time to do a half an episode monologue.
No, yeah, you gotta love them though.
Important shit goes down.
It's so funny because it's so common in anime. Obviously, it's like the thing anime does that like. It's just like they talk about monologues now. They're like, this guy has really good monologues. This character has really good monologues, you know? Like, I just love that. I just love when they monologue. Something I really wanted to say though, I'm very into like science and stuff like that. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because they have the motility gear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking like, I was actually
your hip. That would break your
hip.
Well,
no, I wasn't just thinking about the like terms of like, yeah, the G-force, but I was kind of like, whatever, it's an anime. But I was thinking to myself, like, if they have this motility gear and stuff like that, and it lets them move around really well, and they like, oh, height is like key and all this stuff, like you want to be taller than the Titans. I was saying, like, why didn't they make pillars throughout the city for them to use, like almost like a jungle, like bars that were like spread out so they can like grab on to like a pillar that's like way higher.
You would expect there's
so much. Like you look so high right there. You were literally just like
you just threw me off. You want me to just be all bug-eyed like that? Just
yes. Well, you see, you're saying bug-eyed, but now they look normal. The only thing that's creepy is you look like you're about to murder someone with those eyebrows. I don't know what the heck that was. But no, yeah, like to have like structures.
I hope you cut that.
No, I won't. But to have those structures, you know, to have those structures that they can like move around in, I just thought like, why wasn't that a thought? You know how this episode was like, oh, we moved 2 years in the future, and they just keep on bringing up the topic of, oh, we've made like mechanical we've made mechanical advancements, you know, because we're going to be talking about a lot of imagery in this podcast, because Attack on Titan utilizes a lot of imagery to really express like emotion or hierarchy or anything like that. And something they did that I thought was really cool was when they would have their flashbacks, there was almost like a filter, like a fuzzy filter.
I'm glad you brought that up. And
I said it would make it look like I was watching like really old television.
Yes.
You know, and I was saying like this, I think this was like purposefully done, not only to represent it as being like a time in the past, but also as like an imagery of their development and technology, to where like, oh, in the past, before we had all these technological advancements, it was old and we weren't technologically savvy yet. We didn't have the knowledge we had now. So they made it look like, oh, they basically represented a 2-year change in knowledge by saying like, oh, it's almost represented as being like 25 years of evolution, because 25 years ago this is what TV looked like, now we're here. But it's only been 2 years. So they were representing how like, oh, in our 25 years of development, that's basically what they did in 2 years.
Yeah,
and I thought that was like a really cool way of doing it. And I know it was basically purposefully done, because you don't really see that again after this episode. There's not really a fuzzy filter unless they bring up the past that they were talking about in this episode.
If I'm being honest, if I'm being 100% honest, I think we're talking about two different filters.
You mean how they use a lot of pictures?
Yes, for the transitions. No, but I like the way that they do it. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I do too. Because it's like they just give you like these really detailed like images and stuff
that tell the story without really animating it.
Yeah. I wonder if that's like a mechanic they use to try to like, oh, instead of like making the animation
no, it definitely
areas, we'll just like make pictures that can like express what's going on, so we could save money to like
it
make
definitely
the
is
better.
Because there's this one point where they're like all walking down the stairs and they animate some parts.
You saw that too. I hecka recognized that. I literally wrote that in my notes. I was like, yeah, they're saving money. Because like basically there was one part, and we skipped it because I didn't want to bring it up, because I was like, we're vibing with like the cool shit. But there was a part that I literally wrote like in this episode, or like in the episode before, like episode 4. I literally said you could tell when the quality became hella shitty, and that's when that's like when you see the guy who left the mom to die, and they like meet after those like that time apart.
Yeah,
and the animation there is so bad. Like it looks so bad. I literally was looking there, and Mikasa's face, I was like, holy shit. She looks so ugly in this picture. It was so bad. And I think they were like, okay, guys,
save a little money. We went a little crazy on the first episode.
Yeah. They're like, how are we gonna keep from having those really bad animated parts? And they're like, oh, pictures, dude. In that episode where they like fight and stuff like that, right? And then episode after, like with the chaos and everything, they were really showing off this couple, Hannah and like Hannah and Franz. Such an impactful moment of like Armin waking up, and like as if the show couldn't have gotten even more dark. They're like, nah, we're going to take it a step further and have this girl give CPR to the love of her life when half of his body is
gone. Yeah.
Like amplifying the darkness of this and expressing like, yo, this is going to get even worse.
It's just showing the power gap between the two.
And it's also a really big moment for Armin of seeing this and like him crying and is like saying like, please stop. Like he just can't handle it. Like such a big moment for him as a character to be like, to really see like this chaos and stuff, you know?
Like, yeah, they do a great job with showing all this trauma around the time when the rain starts coming in, and then you have all the characters meeting up on the roof. Mikasa's coming in, and you know she's looking for Erin, of course, and she finds Armin in the corner, just messed up, like just white face, and then he sees her and he hears her calling for him, and I love that like little inner just like, oh shit. I don't know what to say to her. Like how do I tell her that Erin's dead? She like Erin's literally all she has. Like how do I tell her that?
Yeah, no, it's so intense. It's like, and as an audience member, you're just sitting there going, "Oh shit."
Because like I kind of feel for him. It's like, what would you do if you're in his shoes?
Yeah, it's so bad.
One, you saw your best friend die and you couldn't do nothing about it.
Yeah,
and you have to tell your other best friend who's in love with him, like, no, he's dead.
And for Armin as a character right now, like that is probably the worst situation he can be in because it totally goes against like him. He already feels like he's a worthless piece of shit.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden he's like, I was a worthless piece of shit, and I
couldn't save him.
Now I have to tell you this. Like it's his worst fear, almost. You know
exactly.
And it's not even, and it's obviously the sense of like Erin is dead.
Yeah,
but it's also like almost internal for him of like, oh my god, this is literally like what I'm scared of. And then they transition from there, right? And they're like, okay, let's teach you about Mikasa. And let's go back to her past.
Yeah.
And woo, this is a hardcore origin story. You know, like her background is kind of lightweight crazy, you know.
Crazy.
Like, yeah. Like the fact that like she watches both her parents die.
Yeah, die. This flashback too also kind of shows you why she feels the way she does towards Erin. Because you know, they're not subtle about it at all that Mikasa loves Erin. They literally mention it multiple times throughout the first season. They have other characters go, just because you love him, oh, you love him. You know, this like they've confirmed that that's how she feels towards him.
No, yeah.
And it's because of this moment, like just as their kids, because Erin was the one to show up and literally kill two grown men.
Yeah, there was a very big moment in terms of the imagery that they had when Erin saved Mikasa. You know?
Yes.
And to me, it was when Erin saves Mikasa from the kidnappers, and Mikasa like is looking at him, and he's like stabbing the person or whatever, and there's like the window behind him. The light from the window is creating like this silhouette of Erin, like a representation almost of like him being her savior.
Yeah.
You know, that he is like the light shining behind him and the silhouette of him, like he is the savior, her savior. Like,
exactly.
You know, I really enjoyed that. That was really imagery to show like what he is to her.
They do a great job with just like you touched on it a little bit, but when Erin's kind of explaining her how the world works when he's being choked out, and she brings up that moment of like she's seen it everywhere. Like they do a great job of like showing like how she's seen it, you know, from the mantis eating the fly, or her dad killing the duck.
No, yeah, and it's really good too, because I feel like in a lot of animes they're like, oh, we have this really cool idea, but they don't represent it in a way to where I'm like, oh, I understand your idea, you know, because I feel like anime is a really big resource of like these deep thoughts about just humanity, or like ideals and stuff like that, you know. And a lot of the time they'll like bring it up and they'll like say something like a paragraph about it, and you're just left there like, I don't really understand what you mean.
I didn't get any
like,
of that.
Can I get some evidence here about what you're talking about? And like they provide that because they really want their audience to like know. They're really trying to get you to understand like what they want to tell you, you know?
Yeah.
So then it goes back, and Armin, you know, Erin's dead.
Erin's dead.
The way her face like changes to like this plain dead.
I gotta
like,
say,
she lost her
I'm gonna cut you off real quick.
purpose.
I'm so sorry, but I love what they do with Mikasa's facial expressions. I think she's probably one of my favorite faces throughout the show to watch, because she gives so much emotion on her face. I think like in each shot, because you can really just tell like if whenever it's about Erin, she's got these soft almost features, you know what I mean? No matter what the situation is, she's got these soft features, and hope is in her eyes. Her eyes do that little anime twinkle thing. And then like when someone talks shit on Erin, it's straight face, like they're dead.
No, yeah, you're fine, and you can keep taking it, because I know you have a point you wanted to bring out about this moment. No, like, go ahead, like, actually.
Man, and it's just it's all. I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. No, I'm sorry. I got put under the pressure.
This man, like, that was the biggest choke that could have happened. He was, before we even started recording this, we were talking about like these big moments, and one of them was literally right here, and I was like, dude, this is perfect. Like, just transition to your big moment you wanted to bring up, and he's just like,
I messed it up. I'm choking up bad. No, but and another good example of that too, and this just isn't about her facial expressions, but this is using scenery as well. Is I love the moment after she finds out Erin's dead. She leads this charge. She gets that straight emotion face, and she just tells everybody they're all cowards. Everybody standing here is a coward because you're not even trying to get out. You know, so what if the supply team hasn't come to us? So what if the supply depot is overrun by Titans? We're soldiers, you know. And she just kind of almost inspires everybody to get back out there, but it wasn't meant for that. That was just, I give up. I'm done. The only person
and they're like,
yeah, no, but it was literally just like the only person I really care about in this world is dead.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go die now.
Yeah.
And all of you can go die pretty much. and then she leaves, and she's such a badass. Just this natural badass Titan killer that she's taking out these rows of Titans until she runs out of gas, and then she gets kind of cornered by a Titan in that one hallway. She's having this whole inner monologue in her head about how she's kind of just given up. She's done. Erin's dead. Why move on? And the Titan goes to attack her, and like it's all like for audio listeners, the shot is like very all foggy, like on a rainy day. Not foggy, but cloudy, like on a rainy day. And they're casted by this dark overshadow. And right when she gets like reached at by the Titan, her automatic like response is to dodge, and she keeps dodging the Titan's attacks, and she starts asking herself like, why is she still fighting, even though she's telling herself that she gave up? And then you have a Titan slowly creeping up behind her from the back. And in this moment, they do something so well, because she continues to have like this kind of inner monologue, and she's thinking about Erin. And then the sun starts to peek through the clouds, and it shines on a fruit. And I thought this was really cool. And I know it sounds like very strange that I pointed out that it shines on a fruit, but I thought this was kind of cool, because I found that as them representing like Mikasa balancing what she's fighting for. So she sees this fruit. She starts thinking of Erin. She thinks of Armin. She thinks of her family, and
which is what you do when you think of fruit, when you see a fruit, always.
I mean,
no, I'm just messing with you.
I know, but it's just kind of showing you that that fruit can be represented as humanity, the like what Erin wanted to fight for.
Yeah.
Why she needs to fight. Okay, Erin's gone, but I need to now live on for Erin to make sure I can carry out his goal. Also, it's followed up by one of the coolest scenes in that arc.
Erin just comes in and fuck him. Bitch punches the shit out of that Titan, man. That shit was crazy. And then he starts stomping on it. Like I love that.
No, I love that is just such a great shot, the way that they do it, just leading up to that awesome just Titan punch.
Just shitting on every single other Titan that's there. They see the Titan. They're about to go to the headquarters because they need supplies. And Armin is like, what if we get this guy to fight for us, And they're like, what?
What are you talking about?
And something I noticed is like the music was very like outer worldly and like really weird, kind of matching, kind of to like put a sense of like tone. This is not a normal, like this is a crazy idea, and we're reinforcing that by making you listen to this really weird, like outer world,
chaotic, kind of like structured type thing.
Music. And I just love the use of the music there to really convey that, like, okay, this guy is like insane basically right now. Like, this is not the move.
You have John, who is, and it was where he first saw Mikasa and he was like, oh, she's so beautiful, and he goes to like talk to her and he finds out that Erin is like like he sees how close they are and he wipes Connie.
That shit was super weird, bro. Connie's like, what the fuck are you doing?
And he's like, oh, nothing, just wiping my trust on you. I was like, what?
Trust, right?
Like, bro, how did he break your trust? You've never even talked to
Connie is like sleeping that night, just like staring at him, making sure he doesn't get anywhere near him. It's like, this man just rubbed my back. Like, get away from me.
You have John, who is going through some great character development on his own, like on a whole nother front. And I what's crazy is I hated John when they first introduced him.
I was going to bring that up, but I had that like further down in my notes. I literally said, I really like John, and I did not like him at all the first time I watched this show.
Well, no, because he's such an asshole, but he has some of the best character development.
No, that's literally what I said.
Season 1.
There's literally, again, there's a part in my notes where I say, he's literally damn near the best developed character in this damn show right now.
No, exactly. Because, dude, he was able to do what you can say like a natural leader in this world can do, is just make that tough.
No, yeah.
That tough call. He had a window with the 3 people who were being eaten in front of him. That was their chance to go, and he took it, and it worked out. Yes, they got some of them killed, but majority of them lived.
So now Erin comes out finally.
Yeah.
And I thought, again, like I said, there's a lot of imagery in this, and I thought it was so cool because when Mikasa sees that it's like Erin that came out of the Titan, she's running to him, and when you see her running to him, it's like a shot of her running towards the camera or towards him, and there's just light shining on her, just so much light coming from where she's running. But when they turn to Erin, it's just dark, cloudy, this like misty gray going on, as if like this dark entity that Erin appears as is her light.
It still is because it's Erin.
Yeah. It's like he's this dark entity now. Like he's literally their enemy. He's a Titan. But she's running towards it. When you see her, it's her light that she's running towards, Like, I love the imagery they use there. It's such a great, great moment. Levi, right?
Right.
And he gets, he's like fighting the Titans. We're seeing this awesome, like, commander or whatever he is. And he gets Titan blood on his hands, right? And he just looks at it like, disgusting and filthy,
Yeah, and it shows like the neat freak in him. You know, his OCD.
Yeah,
yet
but
I
okay,
think I
go
know
ahead.
I know where
go
you're
ahead.
going.
Go ahead, take it.
Yet you have that, you know, what I think is a cool scene, because you have the soldier who's being chewed down on, and he's like, "You just wait till the captain gets here. Like he's gonna make an example out of all of you." And then Levi gets there and he frees him, but he's, you know, obviously he's dying.
Yeah.
And he has this like moment where he's just like, "Tell me, sir, did my death mean anything? Like me dying today, is it helping humanity tomorrow?"
Yeah.
And like he's reaching out his hand hoping to, like, you know, get like
his
a handshake,
bloody hand.
but it's all covered in blood, and Levi just stares at him and then grabs it as hard as he can. And he gives this amazing, just like heartfelt speech that literally put this man to rest.
No,
Like,
yeah. It like, to comfort the dying comrade, it really just automatically gives you this perspective of like who Levi is. He doesn't give a shit about his enemies, but he cares dearly about his allies.
His comrades.
Yeah. And I just love that introduction, because Levi is such a good character in this anime.
Such a badass. I don't even think he's a human being, if I'm being 100% honest. I mean, you see the way he goes up and down a Titan.
Yeah, no, he's wild.
This man turns into like those tabletop spinners.
A freaking buzzsaw. Yeah, no, he's like wild.
There's another funny time moment, like right after that. And that's like when Erin finally wakes up and they have like that whole dispute of, is he Titan or is he human around the wall?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I found this moment so funny. It was right after he caught the first cannonball. Armin goes, "We have 20 seconds to make a decision." But it took the entire episode to come up with the plan and the decision. You're telling me that's 20 seconds?
Yeah.
That was some straight up Dragon Ball Z logic right there.
Yeah. To me, now, we haven't really gotten into this. We will get into it later, but we have these moments, you guys. Moments, animes, episodes, whatever. And we call them our God. We put them on like this thing we call our God tier list.
Yeah.
To me, this has to be, out of all the episodes in this season 1, this has to be the moment that I thought was like worthy of the God tier mantle.
I think I would have to 100% agree with you.
Yeah. And it's when they crossed over the wall. The soldiers are questioning them. First, there's this amazing imagery you have of like the division between the soldiers and them. And it's really subtle. And I don't know if you saw this. You probably will know when I say it, but there are plants and vegetation.
Yes.
Right on Erin, Mikasa, and Armin. Right. And when it gets away from them and it becomes the soldier side, it's just concrete.
Yes. I'm glad you picked up on that.
It's reinforcing this idea of them being the hope for the humanity, the source of life to grow, by having this source of life, the vegetation, growing on their side.
Exactly. Yet the other side is just too blinded by fear, the knowledge that they are already, you know, kind of blessed with in what they have just witnessed, that they're not willing to just even give something as amazing as this a chance. This is literally like a visual representation of ignorance is bliss.
So now here is the moment, the God tier moment, what this was building up to. And they're like in his rib cage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Armin thinks about, and this is a big moment for Armin, you know, because he's all like, whatever you choose, Armin, is what I'm going to do. If you can stop them, I will stay here and you can stop them and it'll be fine. But if you think you can't do it, I'm gone.
This is just another testimony to showing how smart Armin is, I feel, because this was Erin making Armin see that he is that smart, because still up until this point, Armin has been second guessing himself, you know?
Yeah.
Because even though he came up with we didn't touch up on this, but even though he came up with the plan to take back the supply room with that one plan where like they lowered everybody down in the elevator shot and then had like stragglers take them out from behind, you know, he was still looking for a way out of it. He was like, no, is this really, you know, the best plan? You guys sure think nobody else could come up with anything better?
No, yeah.
And this is just Erin telling him like, no, you're Einstein compared to anybody here.
No, yeah,
and, you know, I will do whatever you say because you've probably thought of every situation.
But for Armin, he's hearing this and he's just like, well, why are you asking me this? You know? And Erin is like, he's all like, you know, you're the one who I rely on. You help. You're the one who makes the choices. And Armin's like, well, when do you ever rely on me, or when do I save you, or whatever? And Erin's just like, you're the one who told the soldier to come save me, Mikasa, and my mom, even though my mom didn't survive, but whatever, you know. But like, you know, you're the one who did that. And
without that, they would have both died. No doubt.
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden, this is the moment. Armin has just realized, like, holy shit, everything that I thought that I was useless, everything that I thought about how, like, they saw me, how I saw myself, was just all in my head. And then it's such a great representation, this imagery. They were in the rib cage. And when he realizes this, that everything was just in his head, that he was basically trapping himself, the rib cage breaks and crumbles to the ground. This representation of the rib cage, the cage that he was surrounded in by his own mind, has now shattered and broken, and he is now free from this like cage that he put himself in. And it's so great because they always keep saying, like, will we ever be free from this cage? They literally say that in like the first like episode, and they just keep bringing that back up, this recurring thing of like, will we ever be free from this cage? And now it's not even just like we were thinking like, oh, we're free from this cage in terms of like the actual situation of them trying to be free from the Titans, but it's also a term of like, are we free from this cage in our own mind? You know, are we free in our own sense of being, you know? And that to me was such a God tier moment of representation of that cage breaking, the rib cage shattering behind him. I just loved that moment. He stands up and Mikasa and Erin are still kneeling down, and he's like, I can do this, showing like, you know, like him becoming this leader, you know, that they look up to.
He's finally putting himself in that role,
which is where he belongs. He's finally where he belongs, above them, because he's lightweight is like the one they look up to.
No, and I loved it. Just even to the way that he walked out. He was walking out with purpose now. He wasn't walking you know, kind of scared or limped. It was all with purpose and pride. And it's just, you know, he does his salute, and it's the best salute ever because
just like this fear, but like passionate salute.
And I love how he tries to win them over. And I love that he kind of just comes to terms with it at the end. Like, well, if I can't win them over, then I'm gonna die a happy soldier. You know, I don't know. I kind of like that. Just that whole, well, my name is Armin Ackerman. You know, I'm proud to be a cadet or part of the 109th Cadet Corps or whatever. You know, if you guys think that we should die here today, then I am so glad I gave my life to you know, for humanity and stuff like that. And it just shows his ability to think on the spot. Like that scene really showed his ability to use his knowledge on the spot in a dire situation, because you know, as stated before, they only had 20 seconds before the next cannon was gonna fire off. The end of episode 11 ends off with Erin losing control in the Titan form, which is something that I thought was cool, because up until now we've seen Erin in Titan form, but we haven't seen him attack a human, right?
Exactly.
And it's just they don't really touch up on this, and it's something I kind of wish that they did. It's why did he attack Mikasa in that form? And like this is kind of just more like just a question out there, because like I said, it's not answered. It's literally not answered. This is just something that I just thought was very strange for Erin to do. Like, why did he attack?
Well, to me, I think it actually kind of makes sense, and this is why I say that is we know that when Erin transforms, and we figure this out further in, but he does it based off of purpose,
right?
You know, and what was going on in his head during that moment before he changed is, why does Mikasa always feel like she has to protect me? Why does she think I'm like worthless? Why this? Why that? He literally just like got angry at Mikasa right before this about like, oh,
that makes sense.
Why do you think I'm like this like weakling? So what might have been on his mind when he bit himself is like, I'm gonna show Mikasa like what I can do. I'm gonna move this boulder. So even though we think like, oh, he said he's going to move this boulder, that might be his purpose. It's like, no, I'm going to do this because of Mikasa.
He's thinking too much of Mikasa.
So when he finally sees Mikasa, he is kind of driven to like hurt Mikasa because his mind is just like, oh, Mikasa, why do you think of me like this and stuff like that. So that's why I think that moment happened, you know?
Yeah.
I just really like their representation of the Titan kind of like taking control by him having like this vision that like, oh, you're home and it's normal and safe.
Yes, I thought that was very cool. And like when they had Armin like just yelling at
in the
Erin,
window, right?
Yes, that was
I
so
love
cool.
that. It's so good.
Like, what are you talking about?
They're home. Right here. Yeah,
They're right here. Why do I need to do? Why would we want to go beyond the walls? And that's what triggered him. And he was like, because beyond the walls is my. Oh, dude, I wish you heard it. I wish you heard it in English, bro.
Oh yeah, I don't.
It was straight up Kirito who's just beyond the walls is my birthright.
No, yeah. But what I love about that exact moment, you know, is that when Eren snaps out of the Titan's illusion, an explosion happens within the imagery, and like fire disintegrates the illusion. Like his parents and Mikasa and stuff, they just all disintegrate into.
Also, leading up to that, everybody in the background slowly started to stare at him. I don't know if you caught on to that.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
So like they were doing at first they were like pretending to do their thing. The father was reading, Mikasa and his mom were washing dishes. But then somewhere in that monologue, they stopped doing that and they start staring at Eren.
Oh, like the Titan is noticing that he is like taking over again or coming back to his wits. That's really cool. I didn't notice that.
So they literally stopped doing what they're doing. They're staring at Eren like literally like his dad is like peering over him from reading his book or whatever like that. And Mikasa and his mom are just turned around from doing the dishes. And then like the fire slowly starts to come up and like burn the outsides around. No, but I caught on to that and I thought that was pretty cool.
No, that is awesome. I'm so glad you noticed that. That's actually a really cool thing. Because what I was going to actually say is like this fire, this explosion that's happening and the fire that's coming up and burning everything is the representation of his rage. Yeah. And it shows that his rage is overcoming the influence of the Titan, and he just ends it with like, I want to see the outside world because I was born in it. Like it's this anger, like this is my right. I was born in this world. I get to see this world, and the rage taking over. Even the Titan like knew that he was kind of breaking his control. When Eren is carrying the boulder in his Titan form and he's about to plug up the hole, the boulder is supposed to represent the struggles that humanity is facing, and Eren represents the will of that humanity to like fight and overcome those struggles, and then he just slams it into the hole, just like you will not beat us, like we are greater than you.
No, exactly. I'm glad you phrased it like that, because it was just this great, you know, moment of humanity finally just catching a little bit of a break, even though
they get the win.
They said like it was one of those wins where it's like you don't really feel like you won, but you definitely won in this situation. Like they lost a lot of people during the the attack on Trost, I believe.
Trosk,
yeah. So you know they lost a lot of casualties, and I think they said way more casualties than you know they anticipated.
No, they lost a lot.
But this was the first win for humanity.
No,
and
definitely.
Which is actually crazy to think about it. This was humanity's first win against the Titans.
No,
A lot of my notes were a little bit of like nitpicking. Like I would see a scene, I was like, why did these characters do this and not this situation? For example, in episode 13, it's when Jean, I don't know why I keep calling him Jean. John, when John was out of gas and he was trying to switch out mobility gear, and then Marco, Connie, and Annie come down to save him. Marco flies from behind the Titan and leads him off the other way, telling like Jean that he's got his back. And literally I wrote down, like the first thing I wrote down was, why didn't Marco take the kill? He came from behind the Titan.
Why didn't he just attack it?
It made no sense to me. Like, wait, you're afraid Jean's gonna die, So you're gonna come up from behind the
wow, that's actually funny. I didn't even realize that.
No, yeah, it just because they were on the wall. They're literally on the wall.
Yeah.
So they came down behind the Titan. And then
it's like, dude, just kill him. Just kill him, man.
Like, he's already distracted by Jean. Like, that's the perfect time to take the kill. Like, I don't know. That was so odd to me. In my notes, I have bye Marco on it.
Oh my god, bro. It's so out of nowhere too. I literally wrote that. I was like, finds Marco dead. So out of nowhere.
They made such a big deal out of it. And it's like it's kind of weird because they didn't necessarily show, like, they have Marco's moments on screen, but it just wasn't enough to make him.
I'm not even gonna lie.
Stay in your head.
The first time I saw this, I literally sat there going, "Wait, who is Marco?"
My first watch through, that's what I did too. Like, I didn't.
And so when I saw him, I was like, "Oh, that's Marco," and I like really watched him closely to see how much character development they had with him. And I was
but they don't show him a lot. I felt like Marco was just really just a tool to build Jean up as a character, because
definitely
Marco's death is what
drives him to join the Survey Corps,
and I like it though, because
it's good reason.
Yeah, and it was so cool to see just that fire get struck,
lit from under him.
Exactly, into somebody who was like,
almost like Marco was the fuel to his fire.
Exactly. And it's just so cool because he was just, I'm gonna join the military police so I could slack off and just be by the king, to now
and be safe.
So now, like, he understands what Erin wants. He even says that. He even says to me, he's like, I hate to admit it, but I think I understand what that idiot, about. And he's just like, I'm gonna join the scouts now.
And so now they're scared because Erin is a Titan, and so he goes to trial, right? And
because it's this is where you start getting into the political view of Attack on Titan, and they do this. I think they do it very well, is where they juggle this like political social stance to show you how the world outside of the Titans works, like how this society actually works. So they do things like show us the military police, who are these soldiers who claim that they're for the people, yet they're all, I'm not saying all of them are corrupt, because they do show a couple like recruits who don't seem to be corrupt, but we'll get into them in later seasons. But they show these military police who are corrupt. They see Erin, they're afraid, they want to kill him.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, you have the scouts who have seen, these are the people who fight the Titans. Like, they go out there firsthand and they look death in the eye, and they embrace her pretty much. You know what I mean? And they see Erin as humanity's next step. Hope. Like, we can use Erin to get more wins, like Trost, for example. And that's what they were hoping with Trost. Like, we used Erin to plug up the hole. We got Trost back. We just need to clean it up. We can now get Wall Maria back, and then eventually, so on and so forth. And it's just that's kind of just where the politics come into.
Erin is stuck in his little locked in the middle, and you have the judge, and then on the side of the military police and stuff, it's away from the windows, so light is not shining in, and the ground is like this green shiny marble. You know what I'm saying? It's this green and black kind of marble design. But what happens is the light from the windows on the side of the Survey Corps, like the good guys, is shining through only half of the floor, divided among right on the line of Erin. And so what happens is, because of that, the marble that is getting is reflecting the light on their side, and their side is very lit up, and like the light side, the good side, and the other side that isn't getting that light, the marble, since it's not able to reflect that light, is this green and black, almost like a poison on the dark side of the trial. And again, just these uses of
lighting,
lighting and division, because
Yeah.
it's not even, this is a lot different than just saying, oh, we're like only growing vegetation in this area and this part is like concrete. This is an idea of like, oh, we have a marble floor and light shines on a marble floor and we're using that as a represent, like that's such a great idea to like make this division by like the shining marble versus the side that's not reflecting the light. I just love that.
They have the moment where just the courthouse kind of breaks into chaos, and then Erin's having that inner monologue, and then he screams out for everybody to be quiet, and he's saying, you know, put your trust in me. If you're so afraid, like, I'll do it. They have like kind of like, if I remember correctly, like a shot where like the lighting is kind of shining from behind him, like that Mikasa effect almost again, you know, to show like I can be humanity's
light.
Hope.
Light.
Like, you know, I'm the future. Please put, you know, and he says that, put your trust in me.
And then Levi just like totally kicking this man's ass.
Oh man, I even wrote that in my notes. Like, oh, this kid took a beating.
So then he basically gets assigned to the Survey Corps, right? And now he becomes like a part of the Survey Corps.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was really cool that the people he has to trust are the ones who are responsible for killing his ass.
Literally, they're like, you have to trust us, and they have that whole scene of Annie chasing them.
Mm-hmm.
And Annie chasing them in the forest, right?
Yeah.
And they do that flashback.
Yeah.
It's literally a whole flashback of him. I guess him was supposed to be like, you know, feeling better about the trust that they had in him, but it's literally a flashback about how they have like this little trust in him.
Yeah.
Like literally he goes out to reach the spoon and he goes into his Titan form and everybody just loses their shit. They're like, we gotta kill him.
I thought it was so sick when Levi was like, calm down.
Yeah.
And then Erin's like, I'm so sorry. And he looks, he's like, because he was telling his freaking group like
to calm down.
Yeah. Like, it's fine.
Like, he didn't mean to do this. And I like that too, because it just shows like another side of Levi that, you know, you wouldn't really expect out of him just with the way that everybody talks about him. It shows that he actually is kind on the inside. Like he is human. Another moment in this that I really enjoyed was the fact that this kind of shows where Erwin's at, because you know, up until this point we haven't really got much from Erwin. We've only just seen him and we've heard his name thrown around a couple times, but this really showed why he's kind of being brought up so much and like why he's so valuable, because Erwin told everybody something different. Well, Erin will be located here. No, Erin's located here. What are you talking about? Erin's located down here. And it all kind of just showed that he was testing it because he had a feeling already, okay, I think other Titans have to be controlled by somebody. They're just like Erin. So they're assuming that the Colossal or Armor Titan are the same thing as Erin. And they feel, or at least Erwin has kind of like thought, okay, maybe they're within sight of our ranks.
Yeah, and that was also a moment because of the person who killed the two Titans, right?
You're right,
like,
right.
He was like, what do you think the enemy is?
Yeah.
Yes,
and it also shows that he's not the only person who thinks that, because even before that, like going back to the attack on Trust, Pixis asked Erin a similar question before he asked him if he can plug up the wall. He says, who do you think our enemies are, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just showing you, and this is kind of going back into like the politics of it. It's they're setting up. They definitely did a lot of setting up for season 2 to kind of just show you like how not only is the outer world and the actual world like messed up, but you know, they have this, you know, wider political scheme going on where it's like who really is your enemy at the end of the day, because while you're thinking as the Titans, we have, you know, corruption and humans.
They're riding through the forest, right? And they know the female Titan is like right on them, you know, and Erin's like, I'm gonna turn, and then he's about to do it, and then Levi is like if you're going to do it, then do it. What happens is when Levi says that, all of a sudden, everything around them stops. Complete focus on the words being spoken. Like, you know how when you're talking to someone, you don't see the rest of the world really go by. You're so into your conversation that everything else that's happening, you don't even pay attention to. I thought it was really cool to represent that level of like focus by making literally everything, all the background either stop moving or just be a blue background because you're not focused on it all.
Yeah.
And it's also really smart because not only is it used to convey meaning, but it's a really good like mechanical element that the creator used to make sure that everyone was focused on this moment, because there's so much going on and they want you to get this information. So they're like, how are we going to make sure that they actually focus here instead of be distracted by all the crazy shit that's happening? They're like, this tactic is such a cool way of like having meaning, but also assisting in the expression.
I definitely like the scene because it also, you know, just kind of going into like character development, it's showing that, you know, not even Levi knows if he's doing the right thing at all times, because he tells him like, you know, if you're going to do it, do it. You know, I'm not going to tell you that you doing it is the wrong or right decision, because you doing it could actually save us all, or it could get us killed. You not doing it could save us all or get us killed. And it's just like this sense of like, it's almost like a gamble. It's either you put your trust into us and we all either die together or live together, or you don't. And it was kind of cool.
Yeah, you know? And I love it because then it gets then you go further in, and they've captured the female Titan, and literally the girl on the squad is like, this is the result of your choice to trust us. And it's a really good mechanism as well by the like the creators and stuff like that, because now you're affirming this idea that Erin is truly the one at fault when everything goes to shit.
Everything goes wrong, because he decided to trust them when he probably could have at least stalled Annie for a little bit, you know. And this is kind of like where I think that starts kind of beating in, and Erin starts retreating into that character that I don't like. It's because of like a moment like this, you know. Because even after this we start seeing it, you know, you see it in the city immediately after this mission. Like, he's kind of just in the stage of denial, and he stays in it, and he seems just not Erin. Like, I don't know about you, but leading up to them capturing Annie, or meeting up to Annie, and him talking to Annie, and then even after finding out, like, it didn't seem like Erin to me. It was very like, no, there's no way that's Annie. I can't fight her, you know, type of thing. And it's just like that seemed very uncharacteristic to me, like something that he wouldn't do. And it's just because he's still dealing with this trauma of, I put my trust into my comrades, and because of that, I got them all killed. I should have turned into a Titan sooner, and maybe I could have saved them.
Exactly. How the girl dies, I think, is the worst.
Oh, definitely.
That was so sad. She just gets freaking like stomped into a tree, and her back is like snapped in half.
And it's only because she lost her composure.
So then it's Erin, you know, he's like, nah, it's my turn. And it's so sick, him turning into the Titan and fighting her, because this has to be like one of the cooler fights, and there's reason why. There's literally a move he does that like makes it so sick. So there's a part where like they're fighting, and he's actually like in his stance or whatever, and she punches his jaw clean off.
Yes,
and he grinds his teeth on her arm and uppercuts her, and puts her in the air. That shit was so cool. That was by far the sickest thing. I was like, oh my god.
You know, and it's just like, it's such a shame that, you know, he let his own feelings get in the way of that fight, because I think he honestly could have taken Annie right there. And it's just the second he realized it was Annie, which I can't believe nobody realized sooner, because Annie looks straight up just like the Titan.
So when Erin gets eaten, and like Mikasa sees it, there's a really cool moment in the lighting. I don't know if you kind of caught on to that. So when Erin is a Titan, you guys, his eyes are really bright green.
Yes.
And we know that the Titan is kind of the representation of his rage, his will, humanity's will to fight and stuff like that. And so when Mikasa sees Eren get eaten, all of a sudden the lighting from the sky coming through the trees becomes that green that Eren's eyes shine as, while Mikasa is going after Annie. And I think this is supposed to represent like Eren, like how Eren feels about humanity and saving the world is how Mikasa feels about
Eren. One thing I love about like Mikasa's character, well, I guess like Mikasa's writing is like they do almost like, I'm gonna word this so weird, but they do like this we're gonna call it like reverse Superman type thing, where Mikasa is like the Superman to Eren, whereas he is like the Lois Lane. But it's because like Mikasa just wants to make sure that the person who saved, it's almost like she owes her life to him, right?
No, yeah.
And because of what he did for her, she will always go to the extreme for him.
It's really cool because they basically take a supporting character and then they say, let's give her the type of story / like drive that the main hero would have. Yeah. And let's have the main character have like a drive that a supporting character would have almost in this relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, and I do agree that is actually like really cool.
It's a really cool dynamic.
Levi fighting Annie.
Well, this is where I found out that this man is just
he's not human.
A tabletop. Like literally he's like a tabletop spinner.
Yeah. It is, that fight is literally insane.
Well, Levi kind of caught up and stopped Mikasa from attacking Annie. So which means that he probably watched like the whole thing go down and saw how she was able to kind of take Annie down herself, right? And he kind of like tells her like, don't do this, we'll get him, we need to stay back. And she gets like snaps back at him. Usually I feel like Levi would correct anybody for that, right?
Yeah.
Yet he doesn't correct her or anything like that. He kind of just like calms her down and moves her on forward. And it made me think, because like before he even says anything, he kind of stares at her with this look. Does he kind of see himself in Mikasa?
Maybe.
It made me wonder that. And like if you think about it, like it would make sense because Levi is a badass himself, and Mikasa is the strongest #1 cadet coming out of the newest class of recruits. They said she has the strength of 100 like soldiers, I believe.
Yeah,
and which is crazy, so it just made me think like, man, I wonder just in that moment if he saw himself in Mikasa, and that's why he was like calmed down rather than like keeping her in check.
No, yeah, and this transitions really well because the part where Mikasa finally forgets what she was supposed to be doing and she tries to attack Annie, this is like there's a really cool moment about Levi's training / his ability as a soldier, because because Mikasa tries to kill the female Titan, and Levi is like,
after being specifically told not to. Like Levi said, our only goal here is just reconnaissance. We're just going to retrieve Eren and get out.
Yeah, and I don't think that's what reconnaissance means. Doesn't reconnaissance mean you just like observe and report?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you probably.
Yeah.
Let's cut that.
I'm gonna put the definition like in the thing. No, it's happening.
Try that again. Yeah, that was just a classic moment of just a search and rescue.
Woo! Did you see that? This man, he tried to save himself, but by doing so, he just came off so much worse. That was so bad. That was so bad. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
That's staying in the video.
Now time to hear from our sponsors.
So anyways, Mikasa tries to kill the female Titan and Levi saves her, right? And by doing so, he like jumps on Annie's hand that she like put up to like hit Mikasa or something like that, and he kind of like sprains his ankle or like breaks his ankle
or something.
But this is the part I love, right? He pushes Mikasa off, and this is the part where you can tell like, oh, this guy is a very good soldier, because he uses her hand as a platform to push off of to cut her jaw. And that's not what he was planning on doing, because that platform wasn't there. So in that moment of breaking his ankle, he is skilled enough to keep his composure, see an opening, and attack. for his goal. Like that was so amazing, just as
Mm-hmm.
in terms of being badass and like experienced as a soldier. Commander Irwin or whatever. He has to be probably one of the best leaders I've ever seen. Like,
I mean, he knows that it's people are gonna die. He's come and he's accepted that. He's literally accepted the fact that no matter what he does, win or lose, people are going to die.
Yeah,
and people are going to hate him for it. So that leaves him to be able to do the extremes that nobody would dare do, because he's willing to take that hate in order for humanity to win.
Yeah, and I think it's like necessary for him to be willing to kill those people, like you said. But I think what makes him especially great is that he understands like people are going to die, but he does try to eliminate how many actually do, you know? So there's a sense of like people are going to die. I'm a realist. Like people are going to die, but I'm going to do anything in my power to make sure it's not as much as it could be.
He's being confronted by the military police, and they're talking to him. And then they're kind of talking to him, and it's right after, like, you know, Aaron's finally been able to turn into a Titan. He's fighting Annie in the middle of the city, and they're talking to him, and they're saying like, you know, this is your plan, like how is this better for humanity and stuff like that. And then he goes on this monologue about freedom and what was it? It was like this monologue about freedom and like the future and hope of humanity. And it was so funny, or not funny, but ironic, because each time he was saying something that sounded good, like he would be like, oh, I dream of a future, you know, this is an example, this might not be the actual line, but you know, for example, it would be like, oh, I dream of a future of people being able to just, you know, walk around freely holding hands or whatever, right? And it was showing the city being covered in flames, and then he'd say something else along those lines of like something representing like freedom and what he sees this plan opening the possibilities for. And then it showed like Annie being thrown onto like a bunch of people and laying down onto it, you know. And it was just like super ironic, because he's talking about how this is the only solution to get to what he wants. But you know, he needs to take this extreme, like, yes, this is a bad situation, and no, you're going to lose a lot of people today because of a choice I made. However, you know, this is going to lead to us, you know, to the first steps of us finally feeling like we're free.
Exactly.
It's just I kind of like the way that they kind of, you know, portrayed that, like how somebody's good-hearted intentions are just this evil kind of dark outcome. And they follow that up with a quote that I really liked from Armin: to rise above monsters, we have to abandon our humanity.
Exactly.
And I just kind of liked how they really fed into that and played on that.
We're now at this moment where he is under the rubble, and this is like a big moment for John as a John as a character, because he sees Aaron, and he's like, he's not able to turn to a Titan, and John is like, no, this isn't happening. He's like, don't be a little piece of like, nah.
Don't be that guy I thought you were. And that's kind of what I like, because that's exactly what he's telling him. He said, don't be that guy I thought you were. And this is him kind of swallowing his own pride and saying like, you are an amazing soldier, and you kind of inspired me in a way.
Aaron was an element that motivated Jean to be better. And now he's kind of being that source for Aaron. I think Jean and Aaron represent like the same will in different situations. It was kind of crazy, because the first time I saw this, I was like, Jean is I don't like him. And now now that I rewatched it and stuff, it's like, no, like him and Aaron are kind of lightweight, like the same people.
But no, I mean, I still felt the same way. Like, you know, the beginning of the season, you don't like Jean as a character, but definitely by the end, you know, he is one of the best developed characters, I think, within season one. He had a lot of moments that made me go like, wow, you're a well-written character.
He is. It's transitioning now, is like, oh, Aaron turned, like he said, now we're getting to the part he's fighting Annie and stuff like that. Right before that, I think, or like right when he does that, there's like this really cool shot of Mikasa, and she's like fighting Annie, and there's like rubble flying everywhere, and she does the sickest thing where she's about to fall on her ass, and she shoots the air out of her thing to keep her in the air so she doesn't hit the ground and then like land. Or whatever. That was the sickest. She was like, she's about to fall and like hit her ass on like this concrete, and she just shoots the air to keep herself afloat. That was so sick.
It just goes to show like just her, you know, I guess like combat IQ or just you know, ability to adapt in situations like that against the enemy. And kind of just say like this final fight against Annie was really cool.
It was really cool. I do like it a lot. Yeah.
I mean, he showed off Berserk Erin.
No, yeah. It's pretty sick.
When he goes into that, gets like covered in fire almost.
Yeah.
And he just chases her down with one leg and one arm.
Yeah.
At the beginning of episode 25 is they started off with inside of one of the churches. Your first watch through of this, you can kind of say like, why did they show off this scene? Like, was this just kind of just so Annie can come down and kill, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But really what I think it is it's them hinting that there's something about the wall. Like there's more to the walls that we need to really pay attention to, because this isn't the first time where they've brought up the wall cultist religion out of nowhere. This was the show's way of subtly like putting them into your head to like, hey, pay attention to these guys, because maybe there is something you need to maybe know about the walls. Hint.
Bringing it back to the central theme of this whole season. And to me, that was them trying to save humanity and like the fight for humanity. It shows the image of the little girl walking in the rubble.
Yes, covered in blood.
All the destruction going around. He's talking about how this will lead to humanity's victory. Now, let's put it all together. What does Armin tell Erin? In order to beat these beasts, we have to lose our humanity. Now we see it, right? Now we see it. The world is cruel. The world is cruel, what Mikasa was saying. So in order to survive, to preserve your will, you must be cruel. To save humanity, you have to show no humanity, because humanity is basically, in this show, is the opposite of cruel.
Exactly.
And then Armin talks about the Titans who wins are the ones who can throw away their humanity. You know, the ones who are going to win are the ones who can throw away their humanity. Again, just supporting this idea that the world is cruel because in order to survive, you have to be.
Yeah.
But does this imply like a beautiful double meaning that humanity is not cruel? Because like I said, to the show, the opposite of cruel is supposed to be humanity. So by saying in order to save humanity, you have to be cruel, you have to show no humanity, is that stating that humanity is the opposite of cruel and is beauty? And is that why they're trying so hard to conserve it? Because it's so beautiful. So that's when Mikasa says her line, when Erin gives her the scarf, that this world is cruel, but it's also beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of that thing of
it's like
what are you willing to do to survive? Sometimes you have to do, you know, even something cowardice can carry you to tomorrow. Quick, something I wanted to say that I actually didn't get a chance to mention about AOT was the art style.
It was really good.
Well, something I don't know if this is kind of a bold statement. I don't know if you feel the same way about this, but I feel like their art style in Attack on Titan is this very realistic comic style, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
Because it looks like a comic book or a manga at times, but it's just drawn very realistic. You know, the background isn't really like, it doesn't scream anime. It screams more like realism to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something that like I definitely, that catches my eye. And one of the main reasons I love watching the show is just the art style itself. it's kind of different to me.
So you guys, thank you for listening, watching. We really hope you guys enjoyed the trip. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe and share us around, And if you're listening to us on Spotify or anything like that, Google Podcast, we hope you spread the word around about us, and it'll really help us out. So thank you. We hope you guys enjoyed the trip.
Thank you guys, and see you next time.